My name is Chris Coleman. I'm the managing partner at Falcon Financial Management. Behind the glass, we have Lisa Meadows. Lisa, how are you today?
Very good. Excellent.
Outstanding. She's bright and chipper, and she's back there flipping switches and dials. I think her fingers are going to fly off her hands. Watch out, Jeff.
She's Lisa Bieber.
A grandma Beaver fan.
Now, before I let these two go down this dark...
Whoa, baby.
Before I let these two run down this dark hole here, I want to remind folks that on Tuesday, March 12th, we'll be having our Planning for Life seminar held at Farrah's. That'll be at 12 o'clock. If you'd like to attend, give our office a call at 352-375-7977. We're going to hold these meetings 4 times over the course of the year, give you a chance to ask your questions about the goings-on, and there'll be some talk in regards to the plans at the University of Florida.
We're going to...
And state.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much of a difference between... Whoa, what happened to this voice here? Excuse me.
There you go. Clear that, baby.
Arr, arr, arr.
Good job.
But there's not a whole lot of difference in any of the plans, the retirement plans that are available to state employees and teachers, if you're part of the Alachua County education system. And in fact, if you work in this city or if you're a fireman or a policeman, your retirement is very, very similar to what's available to the University of Florida. And the changes that apply if you're at the University of Florida or at Santa Fe College, both of them, then their plans are a little bit different. They're tweaked a little bit, and we're going to try and address some of those changes. This first meeting that we're going to have is really kind of an overview of retirement planning, the stock market, what's going on. And as much as anything else, you got to start. You know, the longest journey starts at the first step, and this is the first of a 3-year project that Falcon Financial Management is going to be doing, where we're going to feature some of the top local experts in different areas that would affect retirement planning. And if you're not a state employee, most of what we're going to be talking about is still going to be applicable. So when our friend Cliff Copeland is able to join us and we're going to talk about Social Security, it doesn't matter where you work. The rules are the same. Social Security, 62, 66, 67. You get your Medicare card at 65. Should you take it at 67? Should you continue to work and take it? Should you continue to work and not take it and start taking it at 70 when the amount of money would be higher if you don't need it? What's the best option? If you took it at 67 and you invested it, would you have more money than if you waited till... All of these questions apply to everybody. And those are the kind of questions that we'll be answering when we have these Planning for Life workshops. And we've already got things scheduled. We're going to have a
What about Codemus Maximus?
Codemus Maximus will be there in the fall. We've got him scheduled so that he can explain taxes. You know, here's what you got to do to finish up your taxes for the end of the year, and what you need to do so you're prepared for 2014 if you're not already maximizing your savings and retirement options. Those are going to be great things. Of course, we'll have our good friend Kevin Downey who will come in and talk about wills and trusts. And it doesn't matter where you work, although our focus is working. We've always focused on working with faculty and staff at the University of Florida. We've met people. The information is the same. Retirement planning, setting your goal, figuring out where you're at today, and figuring out what you need to do between now and when you want to pull the trigger on being financially independent. You know, I hate the word retirement, Chris. And I go back to, and my hat's off to the American Express people who came up with this idea 10 years ago, and they featured Dennis Hopper in this thing called the Dream Book. And there were all kinds of ads that featured Dennis Hopper. Now, if you don't remember Dennis Hopper was one of the stars of the movie Easy Rider. And he's a notorious bad boy of the 60s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. And that he became the face of retirement 10 years ago was just, you know, they were showing the commercials would have people pushing a painted VW bus out of the mud, and they all got there. Well, you know, those people were us, Lisa.
Darn it, I was just going to say,
After all, it was the 60s.
But you're pretty sure you had a good time.
Yes. And I survived.
Atta girl.
But that's, we were this is a little rabbit hole. We were at dinner at lunch at Francesca's a week or two ago, and there was a bunch of the red hat ladies having a birthday party.
Oh yeah.
And I was watching them, and I mentioned to Chris, I said, they are, a bunch of firecrackers in their 50s, 60s, 70s, maybe older, I'm not sure, wearing those cool red hats. I mean, they're just out there.
Styling.
What were they like when they were 20? They were a bunch of troublemakers is what they were.
And why do they wear those red hats?
Because it's like a scarlet A.
Oh, really?
No, I don't know.
I believed you for a moment. I don't really know.
Oh my God, the phones have lit up.
I'm naive.
I'm just kidding.
But retirement, that's what I don't like the word retirement. We prefer financial independence. And the concept of the Great Life Adventure was developed from the Dream Book. I just love the idea of, write down your dreams because, retirement is for sissies. And, we don't retire. We just go on to more adventures. And I said, Ping, that's us. We call our financial planning process a map. This is a map of our financial planning process, step 1, 2, 3, 4. And so when we're looking at those, so it's the Great Life Adventure started out as maybe we're map makers. And then, I would be the chief map maker or, the chief adventure guide or something like that. And, we were looking for some way of distinguishing Purple Cow.
Mm-hmm.
And the Great Life Adventure was something that was developed out of and my hat's off, Donna was at that time part of the process and really was instrumental in coming. I mean, the Great Life Adventure was like 40 things as it nope, hey, take this word, put this one, as we played with it and came up with. And the Great Life Adventure is essentially the concept is everything is an adventure. So what is your next great life adventure? So when you stop working for whoever it is, whether you're self-employed and own your own business, whether you work for the University of Florida, whether you we had a great new client who's been running a route for 27 years, doing something really special, and it's we're talking about what is his next great life adventure. 62, you're going to kind of wind up what you're doing. That you've been doing them for 30 years. What do you want to do next? What is your next great life adventure?
Let's see if we can flush out a great life adventure. Folks, if you'd like to give us a call, it's 877-975-9825. That's 877-975-9825. Tell us what your great life adventure is. How do you vision your retirement? We'll see what we get. I'm fishing. I just cast it out there. The cork hit the water, and I'm settling in my chair now.
So, I've embraced this concept of the Great Life Adventure as an alternative. My Great Life Adventure today and for the next 15 years is helping grow Falcon Financial Management into what our vision of Falcon Financial Management can be. I know it's going to be different 15 years from now than anything I'm thinking of today, but begin with the end in mind and move backwards, and that's the way I like to try and approach these things. I know we were talking earlier this morning about the great run the bull market has had. Today is March the 9th, 2013. It is the anniversary of the beginning of the bull market. In other words, the market hit the bottom March the 9th of 2009. And it was around 6,500. And today it's 14,000 plus. It's an all-time record today. That's a long bull market. So one of the things a lot of people have been asking is now the time to start investing? No. If you're invested, good. I think the Dow will be higher before it's lower. Excuse me, it'll be lower before it gets higher, but it'll be higher by the end of this year than it is today. So I expect the year to be a good year. I also expect there to be a retreat. bull markets don't go on forever. This bull market will end. And when bull markets end, they end badly for those that invested at the end of the bull market. So many people invest because the market is okay now. The water looks warm enough. I'm going to go ahead and jump in now. Well, what they are doing is buying at exactly the wrong time. If you're invested and you're comfortable with the volatility and you understand markets are going to go up and go down, and you believe that the market's going to be higher at the end of the year, I wouldn't worry about it. But if I'm sitting in cash, today is not the day I would be investing my money. I would be, because I do believe we'll see, if you just had a 10% drop in the stock market, 10% drops in the stock market happen pretty regularly. Every year they happen.
Mm-hmm.
It happened last year. It happened the year before. It happened the year before. Even though we've been in a bull market, it runs, and then it retreats. And then it runs. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. We used to call it the Davis Shuffle. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And that's what's happening right now. We went ahead. We're just gone 3 or 4 steps.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go 3 or 4 steps without taking a big step back. A 10% drop in the stock market today brings the Dow to about 12,500.
So you mean these headlines that read today, like the Dow Glass Elevator continues to rise, job numbers look very, very good, would start to read something after a 10% drop like market plunges, we'll never see an increasing Dow again?
Maybe. I don't think that's going to happen. But what I think is going to happen is that people are going to get scalded. There's people that do not believe that they believe the stock market is rigged, and that the stock market is evil, and that every time they invest in the stock market, they lose money, so they're going to keep it under their bed.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're going to invest today, and then they're going to see it drop 10%, and when it gets to 12,500, they're going to say, I told you the market would go down, sell it. And they'll sell.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just bought high and sold low. You now it's frothy. This is a dangerous time to begin investing. If you're already invested, understand where you're at, understand there's volatility, the markets go up, the markets go down, it's just normal. But you don't want to buy at the top of a market.
Mm-hmm.
You want to buy at the bottom of the market. You buy low, you sell high. If anything today, you should think, if you want to, are there stocks or mutual funds that have had a great run, and is now the time to maybe sell some of those and capture the gains? Now, I don't believe that I hire mutual fund managers. I hire third-party money managers such as WBI or Frontier Asset Management. Those are our 2 primary partners in helping us to manage money. I let them make these decisions. I'm watching it. We talk about it, but I'm like most investors. I want to invest when things are good, not when they're bad.
Mm-hmm.
And the time to invest is when it's bad. In fact, when they talk about, and Mike, I see you. We've got you on the phone. We'll take you in just a minute. We've got one of the things that they talk about, investment advisors versus investors, which I thought was interesting, is that a recent study showed that investment advisors can bring 1.5% to 2% better returns for an individual than they get on their own. Now, that's a very broad classification. Some advisors can do it, some can't. Some people on an individual basis will do better than we do. But in general, if you look at the averages, and it's attributed to keeping them in the market when they don't want to be in the market, getting them into the market when they don't want to, and taking the emotion out of it. When you're scared that the bottom is coming, you want to be hiding in the corner, and you want your money safe. Well, it's really the time to be investing. Baron de Rothschild once said, the time to invest is when there's blood in the streets. And that was 400 years ago. So that's the best time. When things are as bad as they can, is the best time to invest. If you had invested, taken all of your cash and bought on March the 9th of 2009, your investments would have gone from the Dow of 6,500 to 14,000. They would have more than doubled. I think it's 160% increase in the stock market over that period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Most people would think that's a pretty good run.
Well, I seem to recall Mr. Buffett getting heavily involved in purchases around that time frame.
That's called value investing. and value investing looks for those kind of opportunities. Everything was discounted. Buy it now.
Let's take Mr. Mike here. Mike, you're on the air. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, Jeff. Hey, I just had a question. I'm in Gainesville's #1 band, and we need to know if we need to incorporate with all this cash flow we have going. What do you think about that?
I think that if I was the Gainesville's #1 band,
Is that the Retro Rock?
That's the Retro Rock.
The Retro Rockets, how did you know?
They're Gainesville's #1 band. Everybody knows that.
This
Saying that, that's right.
this is my good friend and my partner in crime on the bass guitar, Mr. Mike O'Gwyn. If you are ever in need of air conditioning help, air conditioning or heating, Mike works with a good friend of ours, Jim Birdie, and Birdie AC. And Mike can come out and give you a quote for what they can do. And that they've helped us at our office and helped us at my house. And they're a great AC. And as we start getting into the air conditioning time of the year, you might want to have some maintenance done. You might want a new system. And Mike O'Gwyn, call him at Birdie Air Conditioning. How am I doing, Mike?
You're doing quite well.
Thank you.
I think in basketball they call that a fadeaway three-pointer.
We've got a couple of booths today at the O'Connell Center for the home show.
Oh, the home show is this weekend.
Yes, today and tomorrow. We'd like everybody to come down and take a look at the booth and come on in, and we'll hook you up, as Jeff's already promoted.
And they will also be getting a free demo disc of the Retro Rockets playing 1955 to 1965 hits, Bebop-A-Lua, Little Blue Boy, what else? Diana.
A whole bunch.
Yeah.
Hey, I do have a serious question.
Yes, sir.
So I started a 401 late and don't have a lot of money in it, but I would like to with some that 15 and a half days. I say that on the radio.
You're old. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. And I'd like to buy a house. Do you feel that's a better investment?
Where you're breaking up on me, Michael, but I think you asked whether you could whether to use that to buy a house.
Correct.
It's your money. You're going to pay income tax on it. If you want to leverage that into buying a home, then leverage it into buying a home. If you're going to be buying a home, you want to buy it when the market's prices are down. Now's the time to be able to do something like that. Just like investing in stocks, you look for these distressed distressed properties, and you can pounce on those and be able to get a really good buy at this point. And just like in the stock market, buy low, sell high. Now's the time to buy. So if you were going to get out of the stock market, you're selling high, using that money to buy into a home at a distressed price. So the timing of that would be really good.
I think it's probably around 50% of the price it would be a couple of years ago, and hopefully in the future. So I can't see where I would go wrong, as you were describing the stock market a minute ago.
No, I think as I said, you've had a great run, and real estate was an asset class that people fled to after 2001, 2002. Because it was a hard asset. We never lost money in real estate. We were losing money in the stock market. I'm going to buy real estate, and I'm going to buy 3 pieces of real estate. I'm going to leverage them all, and I'm going to rent them all, and then I'm going to sell them before I have to pay anything, and I'm going to get rich. And unfortunately, they grew a big bubble, and boom, now that asset class dropped like a rock. So, every asset class has its day. Real estate is now the distressed asset class, and the stock market is the asset class that's just burning it up. They go up, they go down. So now take advantage of it. If I can help you, Michael, let me know, and I will see you. I'm not going to see you this weekend, but I wish you the best, and tell Jim I said hello. And on Thursday, I will see you, and we will burn it up again.
Exactly. Have practice. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Michael.
Soon. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, all right. That was a good question.
Yeah.
We should have solicited his great life adventure.
You know what? You're
This
right.
is buying a home in the immediate.
Yeah, and he's also trying to, turn the Retro Rockets into, we're going to go on the world tour now, and we're going to have, the 50 and 60-year-old women throwing their panties at the stage. We're ready.
Holy free, holy Batman.
Maybe some 70-year-olds
When
too.
you set up your own satellite radio network, give me a call. I'll be your DJ.
Oh,
Personal DJ. Because I've always wanted to start a show of my own called the Fabulous 50s and the Psychedelic 60s. I got a name for it and everything.
You've got to come and hear our music, because that's what we play is, all of those favorites from the 50s and, some Elvis Presley and Eddie Cochran. And,
Nice music, yes.
some of my favorites,
Summertime Blues.
Johnny Rivers. And now we're moving in, as we're aging and our listeners are aging, we're moving into the early 60s. So, we're playing some early 60s blues from the Brits.
All right, so you're telling me I'm going to see you in like a mop top and matching suits?
Oh, absolutely. We're gonna be moving into the white shirts with the polka dots mod. That's what we were talking about.
Oh,
we're
okay.
Gonna, so we
beyond the Beatles and
we're going right to Paul Revere and the Raiders.
Yeah, okay.
Dave Clark 5.
Yeah,
Bits and pieces.
Boom, boom, boom.
All the pieces.
You've heard those.
We're
songs
rocking
before.
here 24/7.
Yes, and you thought we were going to just talk about money.
No way. I like good music.
That's right. That's right. And the people that were alive at the time that Dave Clark was tearing it up on the Ed Sullivan Show
Are now your Dennis Hopper people.
They're flying through the doors that says 10,000 people turn 62 every day. Every day. The retirement numbers are only going to grow. I mean, this, everybody that's my age, that I went to high school with, you were a few years older, you're a few years younger. We got to decide how much longer we want to work. And what do we want to do after that? Because you don't stop working and then just, sit on the porch. I guess some people do. That's what they decide to do. But an awful lot of my clients, when they stop working, they get busier than they've ever been. Whether it's many of them are into volunteer work, but we've got clients that went from being a full-time professor in the sciences to being a poet. We've got people that practiced as a physician for years and years and years, and now they're taking pictures of the Yellowstone, parks. But we've got people that are doing some of the most amazing things with the time. With volunteering, we have a good friend of ours that, every time I turn around, he's on his way back from Guatemala or Nicaragua, somewhere down in the Central America, where he's been helping to build a hospital or a school. So people have leveraged this time into some amazing things. Now, more and more of us, though, are looking at it and going, I love what I do. Why do I have to stop? No, you don't have to stop. I don't want to stop. When people are talking about their next great life adventure, I'm in my next great life adventure. I'm doing what I want to be doing right now, and what I want to be doing for the next 15, 20 years. I think maybe my health will change, maybe things will change, and I won't feel like this in 5 or 10 years. But today, I'm trying to take care of my health, and that's another thing. 60, 65-year-olds, 55-year-olds are taking better care of themselves today. One of the things that we're going to be doing with the Great Life Adventure is bringing in, some people who can address lifestyle issues.
Well, I like to swim, right? So I'm at Gainesville Health and Fitness Center, knocking out the laps, and in the lane next to me is a lady. I finish up, and I'm putting my gear in my bag and getting up, and I say, I notice you're an excellent swimmer. She just cut through the water like butter. She just had her 80th birthday.
Oh, wow.
And I think I swam like 1,000 yards or 1,200 yards, and she was there before me and finishing up right when I was. She was taking some breaks in between, but no doubt about it, that lady says, "Yeah, it's my birthday. I'm so happy," and she says, "I'm here and I'm swimming," and she's just happy as a clam.
Isn't that great?
And you do see the folks in their 60s and their 70s. They're a large part of the Gainesville Health and Fitness. Joe Cerulli's done a great job up there, and they're there working out in classes, stepping, jumping, hopping.
The Villages, Florida is a great example of that.
Say that again?
The Villages, Florida is a great example of that. Because I used to interview people there for the local newspaper. And I thought, oh my God, they're more physically fit than I am. I'm going, oh, I better do something quick. They're playing softball, baseball, doing their dreams, like you said, you know, because they planned, you know.
Well, they did.
The
And,
golf cart ride of shame.
Stop that. You had to say it.
You had to go there, didn't you,
You
Chris?
just had to.
I couldn't help it. I have friends in the pharmaceutical business. You know, there's a whole lifestyle going on down there.
Yep. I'm living up here with, you know, all of you sane Gainesville. Oh, what am I talking about? Gainesville, we're sane.
Stop that sentence now.
I was going to say, didn't the headlines the other day say that America is using more psychotropic drugs than any place in the world?
And what city's number one?
And the highest per capita use was Gainesville, Florida. Isn't that amazing?
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I thought maybe, you know, if they
No
said,
comment.
you know,
There might be a reason for that, but no comment.
Oh yeah, I guess so. But I would have thought, you know, if they said, you know, that, you know, the old people were smoking pot, I'd believe that.
I would wonder how they took the survey if, for say, they were including in the drugs ADD medication and that sort of stuff, and then you've got the university and they're measuring the pharmacies and the number of students who are here. You know, that's not just considered ADD drug. It's a booster in the classroom. Well, it looks like we got 1 minute till the music, so this is about the time I pay the bills. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I I appreciate all the help that you've been doing with us, Chris. It's been a challenging year, and I just want to recognize you as we finish up the day. As you know, the Falcon, we're growing a business, and I'm grateful to have you as a partner. And Gainesville is going to have a lot of great advice from you over the next 15, 20, 30 years. And I just want to tell you I appreciate you. Thank you.
Well, back at you, brother. Appreciate you as well. Folks, if you'd like to give us a phone call at Falcon, the phone number is 352-375-7977. That's 352-375-7977. Or you can check us out on the web at www.ffmonline.com. Jeff, appreciate you as always. Hope you have a great day.
Take care. Bye-bye.